Thank you, Ms Cummings. It's a pleasure to serve with you in the chair. I congratulate my honourable friend, the member for North Devon, for securing this debate, and I thank the Backbench Business Committee for granting it. Tourism around the British coast remains a vitally important component part of the UK economy. It is perhaps at times overlooked, and it is right that we are having this debate in advance of the spring budget statement at the beginning of March. And at the end of March, we do have the start of the season with the Easter weekend. Ms Cummings, I shall start, like most other colleagues have, by providing an advertorial for the tourism and hospitality industry in the Lowestoft and Waveney area. Now, some might find this, as we said, a bit of a joke or tedious, but actually it does serve a very important purpose. For what we're doing is showcasing the enormous range of leisure and tourism opportunities available on the coast of all four nations, as well as the beauty and diversity of that coastline. There is, Ms Cummings, something for everyone to savour, as well as many job opportunities. Going back to Lowestoft and Waveney, in Lowestoft, to the north at Corton, and to the south at Pakefield and Kessingland, there are a wide variety of beaches, including the gloriously sandy South Beach in Lowestoft. We have two piers, the Claremont Pier, which the Llewellyn family are restoring to its former glory, and the South Pier, which is let as a peppercorn by Associated British Ports to a community interest company which I chair. To the north and south of Lowestoft, we have two of the biggest visitor attractions in East Anglia, the Pleasurewood Hills Theme Park and Africa Alive, which is run by the Zoological Society of East Anglia. All along this coast, there are a variety of holiday parks run by both family businesses and larger national companies. We are also the gateway at Alton Broad and at Beccles to the often overlooked by our noisy neighbours in Norfolk, the Suffolk Broads, which are surrounded by a stunning landscape which the Suffolk Wildlife Trust are playing an increasingly important role in restoring at Carlton Marshes, at Alton Marshes, and as announced last week, at Whirlingham Marshes. Finally, Ho Seasons, who take the strain for many of us out of organising and arranging our holidays, have been based in Alton Broad and Lowestoft for nearly 80 years. Ms Cummings, hopefully I have painted the picture highlighting the importance of coastal tourism in the Waveney area. COVID hit local businesses hard, though the support that the government provided was a lifeline for many. The pandemic, as we are hearing, unfortunately does have a long and bitter tail. And for many, the 2023 summer season was worse than that for 2022. And looking forward to the forthcoming season, many businesses, their confidence is low. High energy costs are continuing to have an impact. The response to these challenges by many businesses and operators is to cut back on their opening hours, delay investment, and reduce staff. One business has highlighted to me, as we've heard from all around the chamber today, the negative impact of the national minimum wage. They do not begrudge paying this increase to their staff, but it does present challenges that cascade right through their business and ultimately lead to higher charges to their customers. Those customers at a time, their own wallets, if you like, are under enormous strain. A holiday park operator has brought to my attention the delays in obtaining planning permission for an upgrade and an extension of their facilities, not in the Waveney area, but elsewhere on the East Anglian coast. An application that should have taken 8 weeks took 1.5 years. Ms Cummings, leisure businesses in coastal areas, such as in Suffolk, are not asking for handouts, but what they are rightly seeking is a level playing field. To achieve this, I would be grateful if my honourable friend the Minister could consider the following fiscal measures. And I sense I'm largely repeating what others have done, but in this place, repetition is actually a very, very important, has played a very, very important role. Firstly, as UK hospitality are seeking to cap the increase to business rates for larger premises at 3%. Ultimately, we must have annual revaluations and we must drive the rate in the pound back down to the 30 to 35p in the pound level, which was what we had when business rates were introduced in the early 90s. That said, in the short term, hospitality and leisure businesses, which are what I would describe many of them as property hungry, but relatively low income generating, they should not have to pay onerously high business rates. Secondly, so as to address the challenge which I've mentioned of funding the increase in the national minimum wage, at the forthcoming budget, my right honourable friend, the Chancellor, should introduce a cut in the lower rate of employer national insurance contributions to 10% and to increase the thresholds. Thereby, he will be sharing the benefit of this, in many ways, very welcome policy, but not only with businesses, but with the government as well. I sense that is only equitable. Thirdly, so as to ensure that planning applications of the type I've mentioned are dealt with promptly and are not a brake on investment, we do need that fair funding review of the local government funding settlement carried out as quickly as possible, as that funding settlement is skewed against county and coastal councils. I'll move on, and I would also ask if my honourable friend could act as a messenger. Not Cupid, perhaps, but as a messenger to other departments with other things that coastal businesses in coastal communities need to be able to not only survive, but ultimately thrive as well. First of all, to DEFRA. Along the Suffolk and Norfolk coast, we need urgent investment in coastal defences. Our glorious beaches are increasingly unsafe, and holiday park operators and other businesses will not invest in facilities if they are either at an increased risk of disappearing over the cliff or being washed away. Again, to DEFRA, there should be national investment in the coordination and promotion of the King Charles III England Coast Path National Trail. To the Department of Culture, Media and Sport, Visit Britain and Visit England should provide parity of support for coastal and rural economies with that given to London and other core cities. Fourthly, to the Department of Levelling Up, Homes and Communities, we do need, as we've heard, to revive the Coastal Communities Fund and separate the funding provided by the Crown Estate from the granting of licences for offshore wind farms. Ms. Cummins, this money derives from our coastal waters. It should be used to address the many challenges that are being faced by coastal communities and not thinly dispersed across the whole country. Finally, and back to DEFRA, whilst progress is being made in improving the quality of bathing water around the coast, further pressure must be applied to the water companies to completely eliminate storm overflows as quickly as possible. Ms. Cummins, in conclusion, coastal Britain is utterly unique. We must cherish it, and we must make sure that the tourism and hospitality businesses operating there have every opportunity, first to survive, but then to flourish, and then to bring significant benefits to the people who live all around our coast. Thank you.